There is a question that echoes through every generation. If God is good, why doesn't He remove evil? We ask it when we watch the evening news. We ask it when corruption seems to win. We ask it when a child suffers. We ask it when we struggle with the same temptation we thought we had already overcome. Jesus answers that question today. But instead of giving us a philosophy lecture, He tells a story. Before we enter His story, let me tell you one from everyday life. A close friend of mine works as a cashier in a bank. One day I asked him, when you train new cashiers, do you spend most of your time studying counterfeit currency? He smiled and said, no, Father. I was surprised. Then what do you study? He replied, we spend hours handling genuine notes. We touch them. Count them. Examine them under different lights. Once you know the genuine note well enough, the counterfeit immediately feels wrong. That answer has never left me. The safest cashier is not the one who has memorized every fake note. The safest cashier is the one who knows the genuine so well that the fake cannot deceive him. Jesus is teaching exactly that today. He tells us about a farmer who sowed good seed in his field. Everything began beautifully. The field promised a rich harvest. But during the night an enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat. When the plants began to grow, the servants were alarmed. Master, they asked, didn't you sow good seed? Where did these weeds come from? The farmer answered with one sentence, an enemy has done this. Then came the obvious question. Shall we pull them out? Every farmer listening to Jesus expected the answer to be, yes. Instead, Jesus shocked them. No. Let both grow together until the harvest. Why? Because the weed Jesus speaks about was not an ordinary weed. It was a plant called darnel. In its early stages it looked almost identical to wheat. Even experienced farmers could not easily distinguish one from the other. Beneath the soil their roots intertwined. Pull one carelessly and you might destroy the other. Only when the harvest came could the difference be seen. That is the point. The greatest danger is not weeds that look like weeds. The greatest danger is weeds that look like wheat. Counterfeit money is dangerous because it looks genuine. Counterfeit medicine is dangerous because it looks authentic. Counterfeit Christianity is dangerous because it resembles true discipleship. Jesus is telling us that evil rarely comes wearing an ugly face. Temptation is clever. It disguises itself. Greed calls itself ambition. Pride calls itself confidence. Lust calls itself love. Bitterness calls itself justice. Compromise calls itself wisdom. The devil has never needed to make sin ugly. He simply makes it attractive. That is why the Christian's first task is not becoming an expert on evil. It is becoming deeply familiar with Christ. When we know His voice, the counterfeit becomes easier to recognize. When we fill our minds with His word, lies begin to sound strange. When we live close to the Eucharist, the empty promises of the world lose their attraction. My sheep hear my voice, Jesus says. Notice what He does not say. He does not say that His sheep know every false voice. They simply know His. Some time ago I visited a family blessed with identical twin boys. Even their parents laughed and admitted that they sometimes confused them. As we were talking, I decided to have a little fun. I called the first boy by name. Immediately he looked up, smiled, and came running. Then I called the second boy by name. He looked at me, smiled, and continued playing as if he had heard nothing. For a moment I forgot they were twins. Because although their faces were identical, their hearts were not. The eye could not tell the difference. Character could. And suddenly today's gospel came alive for me. The wheat and the weeds may fool human eyes. They never fool the farmer. That is why Jesus warns us against rushing to judgment. How quickly we label people. He's hopeless. She's beyond change. That family will never recover. But the farmer sees what we cannot see. He sees the hidden roots. He sees tomorrow while we see only today. Think of Peter. On Good Friday he looked more like a weed than wheat. He denied Jesus 3 times. If we had judged him that night, we would have written him off forever. But Jesus saw beneath the failure. He saw a shepherd. Think of Saul of Tarsus. The early Christians saw a persecutor. Jesus saw an apostle. The harvest had not yet come. Perhaps someone has judged you because of your past. Perhaps you have judged yourself. Do not lose hope. The farmer has not finished his work. Yet there is another lesson hidden in today's gospel. We spend so much time asking, who are the weeds around me? Jesus quietly changes the question, what is growing inside you? That is where the real battle takes place. The greatest battlefield in the Christian life is not the world outside us. It is the field within us. That is why Jesus does not invite us to spend our lives pulling weeds out of other people's hearts. He invites us to let him cultivate our own. How easily we become gardeners of everyone else's soul while neglecting our own. We can identify another person's pride in a moment, but fail to notice our own. We see another's impatience, yet excuse ours as stress. We condemn another's gossip, while calling ours sharing a concern. Jesus gently interrupts us today and says, before you worry about the weeds in your neighbor's field, let me show you what is growing in yours. This is where the wisdom of our Carmelite saints shines with extraordinary beauty. Saint John of the Cross teaches that the greatest obstacle to holiness is often not great sins. It is little attachments. He gives us a simple image. Imagine a bird tied to the ground. It does not matter whether the bird is held by a thick iron chain or by a thin silk thread. As long as it remains tied, it cannot fly. How true that is. Sometimes we imagine that holiness belongs only to those who avoid serious sins. Yet our hearts remain tied by invisible threads. A little resentment we refuse to surrender. A quiet jealousy we secretly nourish. The desire to be admired. The need always to be right. The unwillingness to forgive. These seem so small. But every attachment whispers the same lie, you belong to me more than you belong to Christ. The tragedy is not that we fall. The tragedy is that we begin to make peace with what keeps us from flying. The enemy who planted the weeds is patient. He does not usually destroy a soul in one dramatic moment. He simply encourages tiny compromises, one dishonest conversation, one neglected prayer, one unforgiven wound, one hidden habit, one excuse after another. Little by little the weeds grow beside the wheat. And because they grow so slowly, we stop noticing them. That is why today's gospel is not primarily about identifying evil in society. It is about refusing to let evil become comfortable inside our own hearts. There is an old saying among sailors, a ship is perfectly safe in the sea. Its danger begins only when the sea enters the ship. That may be the simplest explanation of Christian holiness. Jesus never asked his disciples to escape the world. He ate with sinners. He touched lepers. He walked through crowded streets. He entered homes filled with suffering, confusion and failure. He lived in the middle of the field. Yet the field never entered his heart. He shared meals with tax collectors. He never shared their greed. He welcomed sinners. He never welcomed sin. He carried the world's burdens. He never carried the world's corruption. That is the Christian vocation, not separation from people, but separation from sin. We cannot choose the field where we grow. We can choose the heart with which we grow. Perhaps that is why Jesus prays to the Father, I do not ask you to take them out of the world, but to keep them from the evil one. He never promised a weed-free field. He promised his presence within it. Brothers and sisters, we live in a culture where appearances are everything. Success is measured by followers. Worth is measured by possessions. Beauty is measured by filters. Truth is measured by popularity. But God has never measured life that way. The world looks at appearance. God looks at the heart. The world applauds performance. God delights in faithfulness. The world asks, how successful are you? Christ asks, how surrendered are you? That question changes everything. Because wheat does not become wheat by competing with weeds. It simply remains faithful to the seed that was planted within it. So every morning we must ask ourselves one simple question: what am I allowing to take root in my heart today? Because whatever takes root will eventually bear fruit. If resentment takes root, peace cannot flourish. If pride takes root, humility cannot blossom. If Christ takes root, nothing can prevent the harvest. And that is why the Eucharist matters so deeply. Every time we come to this altar, the divine farmer is cultivating his field once again. He feeds us not with ideas, but with himself. The genuine bread from heaven forms genuine disciples. The more we receive Christ with faith, the more his life quietly becomes our own. Little by little, his patience becomes our patience. His mercy becomes our mercy. His purity becomes our purity. The world may still see only ordinary wheat. But the farmer knows what he has planted.